Okay, episode 4, I'm very excited about this topic. In episode 2, while filming, I came up with the idea to talk about the magic of the Beatles, and that is what we're doing today. So buckle up and sit down, because I'm going to tell you why the Beatles changed the world, okay? Let's just put that out there. I ain't trying to offend anybody. I know it's not everyone's thing, but you cannot deny the Beatles changed the world, okay? They are, in my opinion, the greatest band of all time. Greatest musical act, greatest songwriters, greatest rock band. I could go on. People who don't like the Beatles, first of all, stop watching now. Second of all, I hate you, okay? I don't mean that, but I hate you, okay? Why the Beatles are so great. Number 1, we would be nowhere in music without the Beatles, okay? Let's just put that out there. Everyone has been inspired by the Beatles. Even if not directly, I guarantee you a band that you like or love or are obsessed with were inspired by the Beatles, okay? From the Beatles to now, everything that's involved in between has been inspired by them, which I find so incredible, because one of my favorite things about the Beatles is how many different styles of music they made well and were accepted. Like, every band, for the most part, fits into a genre, and maybe it'll change over the years, but usually they're put into a box, a genre, a sound. The Beatles did everything. They did everything from dance songs to ballads to rock and roll to country to, like, I don't know, they like invented everything. It's like literally insane that they were able to write such great music in so many different categories. Like, their catalog is so diverse, it's crazy. Just from like album to album. And then don't get me wrong, the Beatles have a sound, absolutely. But it just blows my mind, the things that they came out with. Not to mention how ahead of their time they were with their production and their, harmonies and their use of instruments and weird instruments and sounds and amps and guitar tones. All these things that, like, they literally were the first to do it. It's crazy. It's like crazy. Another thing along the lines of the diverse catalog that I've always loved is what they wrote about. I think is so interesting. Most modern music is about love, and they wrote a lot about love. But I find it so cool to listen back and listen to songs that are literally about what was going on in the world at that time, about war and diversity and, taxes and life. It was just life. And it was just so genuine. Like, they were just living their life through music, which is so interesting, because they were a very interesting, a very interesting bundle of people. They were all very different from one another, and they told their stories, which I found so interesting, that they were writing music for themselves and it just took off, rather than writing music that people think is gonna take off, which is something that bothers me about the current music industry. A lot of things that are being written are from a formula that is proven to sell, and make sure it's not too short, not too long, make sure it fits into the categories that the radios are going to pick it up and play it. They didn't care about any of that. They just played what they wanted to play, and this is why they are the best band ever. I was raised on the Beatles. My dad is a huge Beatles fan. My dad's whole family is huge Beatles fans. We jam on the Beatles at every family holiday. It is just like, it's our thing. And I know I'm probably a little biased because I have that like sentimental value about the Beatles as well. But the older I get and the more mature I get as an artist, I just see how genius the whole thing really was, like from top to bottom, from the beginning of the career to the end to now, and the legacy that's carried over. And I'm probably going to make a series of videos on my love for the Beatles, but this is episode 1 of that series in my other series. I don't like that. This was our first look at why the Beatles are the greatest band of all time, and that's all I have to say.